Welcome to Steve Savant's Money, the name of the game. Hi everyone, I'm your host, Steve Savant, syndicated financial economist and money game extraordinaire. Today we're talking about required minimum distributions in retirement with nationally recognized annuity expert, Mike McLaughlin. Mike, welcome to the show.
Great to be here, Steve.
Well, I always thought I never had to worry about relearning required minimum distributions. For our consumers, everybody knows, hey, at 70 and a half, I'm going to have to start thinking about taking my money out. If I've delayed, if I've deferred, and I haven't taken any money, today I start having to do annual contributions at 12/31 for the rest of my life.
Yep.
Just about the time I had this done, then the government, and benevolent, I have to say, the government was benevolent and did something really fantastic. And I want to talk about this today because it's impacting our ability on our RMDs. This to me is huge. So walk me through this, and everybody, I would say most of our audience could be in a 401k, some of our audience could be in individual retirement accounts, but it also includes some of these other governmental programs.
Yeah, you know, there's $6.2 trillion for our clients to have had individual retirement accounts, and it's expected to grow to 7.2. So most everybody falls into one of these categories, and most likely IRAs. So if you own one of these types of investments, whether it's in mutual funds, variable annuities, a pension plan, or stocks and bonds, this is an opportunity to defer some of those required minimum distributions.
A lot of Americans, when I talk to retirees, they're always telling me, Steve, I don't really need this money, but they're forcing me to take it out. Now they've made really a great change in their thinking from an IRS point of view. And they've said to us that we can now defer a part of this. We'll get to that in the second segment. I want to make sure we walk through this. We're going to be able to defer a part of this now. And that deferral could really be powerful, especially if we live longer. Mike, walk me through some of the basics. Now, I noticed here that pension documents have to be changed. Now, if there's any fly in the ointment, this is it.
Yeah, I think this is something that you have to check with your human resource person or your pension administrator to find out if they're QLAC friendly. And QLAC is Qualified Longevity Annuity Contract. And it may take some time for that company to put in the language to be able to offer that, but eventually we believe that this will be such a momentum builder that every pension plan will have that in there. If you're in a 401k or a 403b, I would ask your employer if you have in-service withdrawals prior to age 55 so that you can take that money out and that you can take control and make your own investment decisions, not only just asset allocation, but also about deferring it through the QLAC program.
Now, what is a QLAC? And we usually talk in industrial language. What is the actual word here?
The word here is a Qualified Longevity Annuity Contract. It's actually a deferred income annuity. If you've watched Steve's shows before, we're big fans of deferred income annuities, which is nothing more than giving an insurance carrier a certain amount of money, and they are going to guarantee an income for the rest of your life or joint life expectancy, you and your spouse, with a variety of different options, but that is lock, stock, and barrel guaranteed. So it's a great foundational play for any type of income in the future. Maybe more importantly is it's not just for people who say, you know, I don't need this money anymore. It's also for people who need to start thinking strategically about how do you withdraw money, because it's a great tax play if you can manipulate and optimize Social Security, optimize your other qualified plans, life insurance and other non-qualified assets for retirement plans, and then being able to have the ability to defer some of your qualified money can give you even more options.
Mike, you just mentioned this. How important is it in when you take out money from your retirement accounts, your qualified, your non-qualified, your life insurance? Does this matter?
Absolutely. Timing is everything. You know, we talk about sequencing of returns inside an investment account. Whether you start in an up year or a down year can have a huge impact on how successful your retirement plan is. But at the end of the day, having product diversification is really critical when you take a look at all the different options that are out there and trying to keep as much money. You know, I always say it's not how much you earn, it's how much that you keep that's important.
So sequence or taking money out, what I take it out of and how much I do, this all matters.
Yes, it does.
I noticed there's a few that many of our audience would have. Maybe a lot of people have Roth accounts. These are not eligible for Roth accounts.
Yeah, and really no need for that, because with Roth accounts, you're not going to take any RMDs anyway, so there's no need to include that into it.
Now, what if some of my viewers have seen they've actually inherited an IRA from maybe their parents?
Not eligible because, again, because you're already taking income, you're really not going to to play in that marketplace. In fact, some of the QLAC legislations allow you to take money if you're above 70 and a half to do a QLAC on only those accounts that you are not taking income on right now. So if you've set aside 4 different IRAs and IRA number 1 is providing your RMDs for all of your other accounts, that's the one that you cannot do anything with a QLAC on.
I also noticed that if we're already currently taking our RMDs, our required minimum distributions, we can't do anything about that section of that money.
You've already made that decision, basically, yeah.
Okay. We come back from the break. We're going to walk you through the mechanics of what you can and cannot do, what you can deposit, and how to make this work on your behalf. We'll be right back after the commercial. It's not how much money you make, it's how much money you keep. And keeping more of your money is even harder these days with high taxes, fund expenses, and fees for financial advice. And when you consider the uncertainty of the market and the rising cost of living, the purchasing power of your dollar is constantly at risk. But a tax-deferred annuity with an inflation rider can be the most cost-effective way to generate increasing annual income without market volatility. For more information on how annuities may work for you, just email me at steve@thenameofthegame.tv and ask for our free annuity information. Welcome back to the second segment, of course, with Mike McLaughlin, nationally recognized annuity expert. Mike, qualified longevity annuities, this could change a lot of consumer. You were talking about, well, even if I didn't need the money right now, that's not the number one reason. The number one reason is to be strategic, taking money out accordingly, and really can maximize and optimize your retirement plan. Walk me through what I can do with this new idea that the IRS just released about a month or so ago.
Yeah, as you said, they're very benevolent, but they're going to limit their benevolence as well. Basically, you can only defer 25% or $125,000, whichever is less, so you're going to cap. So if you have more than $500,000 in all of your qualified accounts, then you're going to cap out at $125,000. The other significant thing here is that because those products are fairly limited right now, you have to make your intention of a QLAC right now. So if you are a current owner of a deferred income annuity inside of a qualified account, you cannot go back and make that QLAC. It's only available for those new purchase payments.
Now, I'm thinking about how this could be really strategic because you can really reduce your commitment to RMDs, which reduces your taxable event, which reduces that money infringing on your Social Security benefit. This is all correlated.
Absolutely. When you talk about retirement assets, whether you're talking about non-qualified or qualified, getting to that income, and really what people need to think about is the income impact. Life expectancies have increased by 3 years over the last 20 years. And you wouldn't think, okay, that doesn't make a whole lot of difference. But if you have $50,000 of fixed income expenses and your life expectancy increased by 3 years, that's an impact of 21%. If you put into the impact of inflation over that 20-year life expectancy, that's an impact of 27% on the income that you have to take out.
Just by adding 3 years to your life expectancy.
Yeah. And that's the whole reason why Congress came up with qualified longevity annuity contracts, is to protect that back door, to make sure that we have the life expectancy and the mortality risk on, in terms of retirement income.
Well, let's go to this next idea, because I want to make sure, because I noticed that you said we have to start taking money out of this really new idea called a QLAC, qualified longevity annuity contract. We have to take it out at 85. I could take it out earlier, but I just have to take it out. I'm stalling my RMDs from the traditional 70 and a half to age 85 now.
Absolutely.
Okay, walk me through this.
Basically, you can defer anytime from 70 and a half all the way to the 1 month after the person turns 85. That can also be a single or joint life. So if you have one working spouse with a significant account balance and a non-working spouse that hasn't been able to use as much deferral as they could, then this is a way to protect that income for the spouse's life. Also, when you're thinking strategically, how about loading up one spouse to be able to do a QLAC down the road while you maximize the Social Security and file and suspend, or one of the other 180 different options. So those are the things that QLAC allows you to take another dimension into retirement planning. When
you're a consumer and you're thinking about your retirement, you really need to sit down with an advisor who understands all the options. There are some serious options, and we just added a big one to it. Now, Mike, I noticed that I could put, even though I have my account under my name, I could use my wife and myself under that account and joint life. I also see this thing called cash refund. Now, walk me through life only and cash refund for our viewers.
Everyone is under the impression that when you do a deferred income annuity or a single premium immediate annuity that you lose control of that asset, and that's the furthest from the truth. That's really a myth. With cash refund, you get your income for both lives, and if you still have $100,000 that you haven't withdrawn out of your original basis, then or your original premium payment, then that goes to your beneficiary. So you're always guaranteeing to your beneficiary that they will get back what you put into the money minus any withdrawals. That's a huge option and a huge myth that we need to bust up in terms of DIAs and SPIAs.
Now, and I appreciate that, because I want our viewers to see everything that's on the table, all the options that they have, and this is a huge one. And I noticed that the consumer propensity for retirement now, people are liking guarantees. Walk me through this issue, because I'm looking at my Social Security. Except for 2 years, historically, Social Security's always give me a little inflation boost. What about this product?
This gives you a couple different ones. One, you can lock up with inflation, just like Social Security. So how would you like to have a base income, whether it's Social Security and QLAC, a qualified longevity annuity contract, paying you every month that keeps pace with inflation? Or you can actually outpace inflation historically over the last couple of years. Some carriers will come out with compounded or simple increases in checks of anywhere from 1% to 5%. So you know that your check is going to increase by 5%. Now the cost of that is you may start a little bit less, and it may take you 4 or 5 years to catch up with that. But the reality is, though, Steve, that if you have longevity in your family, you're probably going to catch up with that. And if you defer this maybe just to age 75 instead of 85, you have a good chance of really outpacing that cost of inflation.
This is a huge backstop for retirement. If everything else kind of went down the road, I still have this in the back of my pocket, and I can make this 80, 83, 84, 85. I think this is a huge opportunity. Before we leave the show, quick explanation on the death benefit issue.
Sure, death benefits have to be return of premium. So if you do not make it to age 85 or whatever time that you decide to turn the income, your beneficiaries get your $125,000 back, worst case scenario. The downside of the qualified longevity annuity contract is that there's no interest given to that death benefit for RMD purposes in the actual 1231 account value. That's one downside that I think that we have to throw out. But at worst case scenario, you're going to make sure that you get your money back.
Well, that's all the time we have for the day. I want to thank Mike McLaughlin for being my special guest in today's Money Mentor. And keep in mind, before moving forward with any of the ideas on our show, always consult your tax advisor or legal counsel. And as the good Reverend John Wesley once said, make all you can, save all you can, give all you can. I'm Steve Savant. We'll see you next week.